Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Dublin. I'm a life coach and a speaking coach. And this morning, we're going to talk about how do you fight an adversary. I was reading a book actually this morning only. And that book said actually defined the word adversary as different from an enemy. This definition is literally going to change your mind and change your mindset this morning and get you ready for the battles ahead. Are you ready? It says that an adversary is an enemy who is in active opposition to you. Sometimes we have dormant enemies, right? Things that aren't actually right now coming against us, but an adversary is an enemy who is actively fighting against you. That could be a person, an institution, that could just be the spirit behind a thing. You know how we do. It could be all of those things. So, wherever you're watching me from, let's have a spirited discussion about who are you fighting this morning and how are you fighting. I like this topic a lot because many times when I work with clients, and I like to speak about clients I have coached in the past to kind of protect the ones that I have now. So I'll always be talking about what has occurred. It's not nobody who I'm coaching right now, and I think that's only fair. And many times I coach clients who come in crisis. They come at the point when things are getting so bad in the workplace, in particular, that they have come off their game. They have left the reason that they got into the institution in the first place, and they find themselves in the weeds working with people who just simply seem to want to take them down and get personal. And it's about the emails flying back and forth every day and being called into managers' offices and into copious meetings. And then when you come into coaching, then you get a chance to kind of step back and to realize, okay, wait a minute, what's happening here? What is this person actually after? What was I doing or heading for that seems to have been a threat? And that's what we're going to talk about today. I actually want to start by playing a video. Let's see if I can do that right now. I'm going to play this video, share my screen with you, and just it's just about a minute. And it talks about how an eagle fights a snake. I love that video so much because for many people who are like battling just adversaries in the workplace, in your personal life, public life, all of the things, sometimes it might simply be a matter of recognizing who you are in the equation and taking steps to fight like your identity dictates that you are, and not like the enemy is trying to make your adversary is trying to make you. So let me share the screen with you, and I then we'll talk a little bit. I love this video. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Can you see it? Ooh, let me see if I can change where I am on the screen and make it so that you see. Okay, awesome. So let's go. Don't forget, please like and subscribe to this video. All right, let me press play. And this guy said,
Eagles don't fight snakes on the ground. The way an eagle attacks the snake is an eagle understands that if you fight the snake on the ground, the snake will always win. Because the snake is comfortable on the ground. The eagle will take the snake out of its comfortable place, throw it in the air. The snake has no stamina. The snake has no ground. And the eagle will throw the snake in the air. The snake cannot fight back and grab it again. Because in the sky, the snake is weak, useless, and vulnerable. When you take prayer, when you take your problem into the prayer realm, you're literally taking that snake into the air. And that's what happens when you pray and fast. You're literally taking those issues into a spirit realm where you will have upper hand through Jesus, through the Lord, by breaking those strongholds. You might not see the visible results right away, but those things shift in the realm of the spirit. Eagles don't fight snakes.
Unmuted. Okay, can everybody hear me right now? All right. So if you can hear me, I'm going to play this is just a minute because I want to take the concept of the eagle and the snake. And yes, we're going to keep it spiritual because it works so perfectly there, but also apply that concept of how you fight and what identity you fight your battles to the professional space and your personal life. Okay. So watch one more time for me. I hope you can see it, and then we will continue the
Eagles don't
conversation.
fight snakes on the ground. The way an eagle attacks the snake is it an eagle understands that if you fight the snake on the ground, the snake will always win. Because the snake is comfortable on the ground. The eagle will take the snake out of its comfortable place, throw it in the air. The snake has no stamina. The snake has no ground. And the eagle will throw the snake in the air. The snake cannot fight back and grab it again. Because in the sky, the snake is weak, useless, and vulnerable. When you take prayer, when you take your problem into the prayer realm, you're literally taking that snake into the air. And that's what happens when you pray and fast. You're literally taking those issues into a spirit realm where you will have upper hand through Jesus, through the Lord, by breaking those strongholds. You might not see the visible results right away, but those things shift in the realm of the spirit.
All right. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now and get back to the conversation. So let's talk, you guys. Let's talk about how we fight. Let me just Okay, there we go. Okay, much better right now. Okay, so we're talking about adversaries this morning. And even as you saw in that video on TikTok about how eagles and snakes fight, and the author was making the analogy between that and how what happens if you are that person who has any kind of spiritual backing, that it literally is when you take things into prayer that you are literally that eagle who's fighting the snake in a realm that it cannot survive in. And it works if you, I mean, go all the way in. Like, I am a Christian, God is my backing, which is why I have the kind of strength and being able to sustain things for so long, because I have that backing and I've learned to fight a certain way spiritually. And if you are in business in particular, girl, you need that, right? No, you absolutely need some kind of backing. Most people have. It just depends on who it is, right? And what the price is that you pay. But most people understand money spiritual and the way that you approach business. You kind of need inside protection, all of the things. So some people go other places. I choose to go where eagles fight, which is in prayer and that kind of thing. I want to also apply this to your professional life and to your personal life by giving you examples of how this eagle snake analogy, it works because of identity. Basically, what this guy was saying here in terms of the professional space. Let's stay here for a minute. I know I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook this morning, I'm on YouTube, and I'm also on Instagram, believe it or not. So you can follow me in all of these places as well. I'm way more fun on Instagram, I think. More pictures and everything over there. Here's the thing. Identity says, I don't fight you according to who you are. I fight you according to who I am, because I'm strongest when I am myself. Lisa, what does that even mean? I want to give you an example of things that I've learned to do even in my professional life. So I run, and this is all things that have happened in the past, as I said. Obviously, I've got to date things because I'm currently in business, have clients, so I protect them by not bringing those stories to the fore in the moment, obviously. But I've learned certain things about being on the offensive and being on the defensive as a manager, as a CEO of my company, even as a facilitator of groups. And, group dynamics are such that there will always be people who come for different reasons. And some of these reasons have nothing to do with the reason that the group was put together in the first place. And it's happened to me a couple of times in running some of the groups that I do. And I've had to learn to be strategic, okay, and to be defensive and offensive. Offensive is, no, defensive is, first of all, why are you in this group? A lot of people, the snake part is to drag you, the eagle, into a place where you forget the lofty thing you were trying to do in the first place. I've seen it in my groups where people get into personality clashes and you forget that you came for a certain lofty reason. For example, you might have come to speak with confidence and authenticity. How is it we get into a tug of war of who you think you are and who you think your facilitator is? What's going on there? And the one way that I've stayed on the defensive is to always remind myself, and this is the eagle staying in the air and bringing the snake up to where it cannot fight because they cannot. They're not about the lofty ideal. They are about being crass and being about, you know what, it's personality. So let's fight down there. Let me go tug of war with you back and forth, email. Oh gosh, no. Don't let people rent space in your head. That is prime real estate. So if they're up there and they're not even paying rent, then they've won. So the way that I stay on the defensive is to remember why I'm there. And I've had to teach that to a couple of clients in the past. I remember a client came, she worked in the Middle East. I'll never forget this story. Brilliant girl, brilliant black girl in a field where nobody looked like her and in a place where it was cliquish. And the kind of pushback that she got, it almost got her off her game. She had lovely ideas. She can put together. Oh, this girl was great with systems. That's her thing. She had to make. Oh, her mind is brilliant. How is it people get her into meetings, pulling her up, writing her up, getting her off her game and frustrating her efforts at every turn? And she and I had to sit back and be like, what is the end game here? When you come across an adversary, you have to figure out what the end game is. It wasn't just to get her out of the company, but she came in with a lot of promise and potential. Her reputation preceded her in that company. People expected big things of her. And she comes in and she gets no help from the persons who are supposed to help her. There's no help. There's no support. There's just, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you should have been in this meeting, why are you not in this meeting? Just dropping stuff on her on the spur of the moment, not treating her as the manager that she was supposed to be. And she got so defeated, so depleted in her energy that she forgot the lofty ideal of, I came into this company to make this difference and that difference. And I had to be constantly working with her to remind her to stay up there in the air because they can't fight you there. So, in a sense, the support of the coaching was such that, you know what? While you're fighting, you have this support to remind you of what are the extraordinary things that you're supposed to be doing for you to stay at the top of your game. So, one of the things I've learned is when you stay on the defensive is to stay in why you're there in the first place. Don't go crass. Don't go into the weeds with people. Sometimes, like even I've said to people, stay in the excellence of the moment. Stay in your excellence. Don't go where they want you to, because if you are an eagle and you are fighting a snake, you're not meant to be. The snake is accustomed to crawling on its belly. You're accustomed to being in the sky with the lofty ideas and the integrity, whatever. You descend to their level, you can't fight. You weren't built for it. So stay up there where they cannot and bring them up. Okay? So that's the other thing. Another thing that has happened when you are fighting an adversary is to look at what the adversary is not. And that is straight from the art of war. Oh my goodness. I am not even sure, a side note right now, I am not even sure how people don't realize that Trump's whole playbook is the art of war. You want to know how to fight? Read the art of war. Okay? And the way that you stay on the offensive is to offer to the enemy what they cannot deliver. I have had to do that so many times. Like, for the most part, the last 4 years, I've had a wonderful coaching career, but especially in the early days, there were people who came into coaching and like it was almost like, aha, I've got you. Aha, Okay, this happened. This was not supposed to happen. All of the things, you guys. And I've had to sit back and be like, okay, this is a paying client like every other playing. Oh, you're not hearing me? Oops. Ooh, not hearing me? Seriously? Sorry, Linda. Thank you for letting me know. Mic check 1 2. Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better? Can everybody hear me? Let me know, please. If you can hear me now. Okay. So staying on the offensive is offering to the adversary what they cannot deliver. Offering them what they cannot deliver. I had a client one time, very troublesome. And we've all had those we wish that, you know what, I'm not even going to ask you to renew, just please go on your way, but we're going to have to finish this well. And I've been very, can everybody hear me now? Let me just see if I can hear myself. Good. Okay, it's there. All right. And it's just simply been a matter of, how do I deal with this person? And this is a lesson. Think of yourself in your own business, in your own life, especially for the nitpicking people, the black and white. Like if you say you have to, like, they are on the ball, black and white, there's no room for humanity, and you just have to go. That's who they are. If you promise something, you've got to deliver, that kind of thing. But where it gets iffy, and if you're getting yourself into trouble with them, on a personal level or professional level, look at what they're not. That happened to me one time with a client, and I think both, that was ever since just after the video. Okay, thank you. All right. So here's the thing. I knew this client was not super organized. All right. And we had a couple more sessions, and she sometimes clients, when they're coming to the end of their package, they do not want to have those very last sessions. They want to linger, they want to hold on. And I'm like, okay, we've decided we're doing 6 months. Now you're ready to fly the coop. Let's wrap this up properly. Let's not have an open cycle. And they keep on trying to just prolong it and that kind of thing. I'm like, no, you've got to finish what you started. And so this person just simply didn't want to, go through the process. So I said, okay, hey, let's choose some times that work for you. And, you'll have to keep to them because my schedule's filled. And if you can't make it, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to, like, make up for those sessions. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. I can do them. Chose her sessions and all of the things. And I knew, I was like, did she actually take those times? Because I know her. She's just not that kind of person to keep to the sessions. And so sad, I get a text after the session. Well, I'm not going to text you when you're supposed to be on the call. Number one, like, you got your reminders, you got all the things. Do you? And afterwards, I get a text. Oh, I'm so sorry, I overslept. And at that point, because you are black and white, I have the liberty to be that way as well. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I wish that I could actually make it up. And it really was true. I usually am really good with helping my clients because I'm about winning. But if you're going to be faced with somebody who's nitpicking at you, just look at what they're not and offer that to them. I had another, in a group session one time. Somebody was trying to stay in the group and had not even completed, like, everything that was required of that person to stay there. And I just simply made it mandatory that these are the things you had to do. In a huff, this person was like, okay, fine. Yes, I know that's what I have to do. Okay, no problem. All right, sure. Up to a day like today, because this person is not organized, that has not been done. So that way I didn't have to say get out of the group. I just simply put the guidelines in place to make sure you satisfied those before you even got into the group, and to give a little trouble. There are ways that we fight. You have to do that kind of thing. Fight the adversary on the offensive and on the defensive. Here's something else that I've learned. You tell me which one this is, offensive or defensive. Let's say in business, and we all have adversaries in business, people who see what you're doing and they want to do it as well. And I'm going to post it later today, but I recently did an interview, a podcast with a good friend of mine named Annette. and it's on the Our Lives Narrative podcast. And I'll put out all the promos. She's so good with all of the promos. And we had an in depth conversation about authenticity. And if you are that person, you know you're doing great work. You will expect that the I think the flattery, or call it, when other people want to do what you do, it's a sign that you're doing good work. When they want to dress like you and speak like you and that kind of thing, it's a sign that you're doing great things and you're getting into their psyche. So I have learned to take it with honor. Sometimes it crosses over into outright competition. I can do you better than you can. That's okay. Let them try. Because what I ended up saying in that podcast was, when you think of authenticity is not just who I am and how I do things. Do you know what the surviving factor is? The thing that sustains you? It is why you do it. And when people don't have the same why as you do, they cannot sustain doing what you do. Does that make sense? Let them start. They're going to start, as they say in Trinidad, they boil right up like Baji and boil right back down. Let them try. But if you have a reason that is deep enough, a why that surpasses just looking good and making the money, and all of those things, if your why is yours and yours alone, the way that you put it together is way different, right? Trailblazing has exactly lit down. That's I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are a couple of us in the business world that are blazing trails, and yes, it's nice to see people hanging onto your coattails and trying. There's room for everybody, but and because I too, I am a product of those people I have admired. And while for sure I am not, hey Tess, how you doing? And while for sure I might not like emulate them exactly, you will see and hear elements of the people who I admire and follow in me. But I'm not outrightly doing two things. That's what I've found in the business. One, people are going to emulate you, try to do things exactly as you do. And secondly, how you know it has crossed over into dangerous territory is when they never want to give you credit for what they've taken from you. That's when you recognize that it's outright competition. For me, I'm always about, people know my mentors from afar: Eric Thomas, Stacey Bayman, the people who I admire and in a sense emulate. But I am my own person because I'm coming from different coordinates: Caribbean woman, Black, immigrant, mother, wife, writer. I'm put together differently. So the product that I produce and the services that I offer and the tribe that I serve, they would have to, in a sense, if I'm authentically myself, they would reflect me and all of the things that go into being who I am. And I think if we just relax, we admire other people, but you figure out how much of that is you and how much of other people can you now put into yourself, then we'll be much better for it. But when you see these kinds of things happen, I heard a good friend of mine say that the other day. I've been teaching this to my clients for years. You build a moat around yourself. You know what a moat is, you guys? And that is part of being on the offensive, right? A moat is made up of all the things that you are your best at. So even in this the field of speaking, what do I add in there? I add the other parts of who I am. I'm a performance poet. Okay. All right. If you want to go toe to toe, let's go. All right. Then if you're a singer, add that in. So I once was speaking to a coach. She was trying to get her coaching business off the ground. And how do you be a coach with a difference? So I will bring the poetry into my coaching. I will also bring, perhaps if a client wants it, let's talk about who you are off the stage, because I usually get the authentic ones. You know what I mean? Like, who are you off the stage, and how can we make it so that you're comfortable with who you are? So there's a lot of a focus on Why do you do things when I coach? So other people might not do that. This coach who I spoke with, she was a dancer. And I was trying to say to her, why don't you bring that into your coaching as well? Why don't you try to get people to express themselves through dance? Put that into yourself. My thing is, if we spend a lot more time loving and knowing ourselves, we can create parts of our business that no one else can emulate. That's how you build a moat around yourself. And I think that is also part of one of the ways that you fight the adversary in whatever field is by being more of yourself, because no one can be more you than you. And the people, last night I was watching an interview. I have not seen somebody so deeply authentic. Like I had never this girl was talking about some experience she had, and it was almost as if we were the ones intruding on her performance and not her performing for us. She seemed to have just been so deeply into herself that you felt she did not even care if anybody else was there. That's authenticity, you guys. That is like being so deeply yourself you don't even have to worry about who other people are and what they do. So, how do you fight the adversary? Offensively and defensively. So, first of all, remember this eagle and snake analogy. In your business, in your workplace, in your personal life, what are you facing that might say you are the eagle and you fight a certain way? The eagle does not fight the snake on the ground because the eagle is going to lose. So it means when people try to drag you down to their level, they try to take away your concentration, remove your focus on what you're supposed to be focused on. You need to keep your eyes on the prize. Why do you what could they be wanting? If you know, we have a saying in the Caribbean. We have a saying in the Caribbean. You don't throw stones at an empty mango tree. But it's not enough to just say they're out to get me. What exactly are they out to get? I always go back to, if, like my mom in particular, back when I was 20 something, early 20s, studying in Trinidad and suffering from clinical depression. Clinical depression is falling into yourself and not being able to get back. That's not the blues, you guys. This is clinical depression that needs medication, as I did, as I went through all of the things, the medication, the seeing the counselors, the psychiatrists, all of the things. Thank the Lord for God, right? And I think back then, it wasn't just about getting to be happy. I wouldn't be here today with a sound mind, love, and power. I wouldn't be here today and being chief inspirer if my mom had not recognized back then that it was not just about get my daughter out of the blues. No, it was fighting for my life and my destiny. Many times when you face these kinds of trials, you are just looking short term as what's before you. Sit back and figure out what is the fruit that they're after. If this fruit were to mature in a couple years, what is it going to be like? Then you reverse engineer from that to understand how and why and where you should be fighting. Because many times we're not really fighting the people and what they say it's about. They're about destiny. They're about not helping you to produce. It's about making sure that you don't rise to the level of your potential. Don't be fooled. And so you fight the enemy as an eagle fights the snake, right? And you go where they cannot follow. You go deeply into yourself and your gifts and your talents and your strengths. And of course, take a look back. Last thing, I don't have much time. Okay, we'll take 1 or 2 other minutes, right? One time, I'll never forget. I used to live by my grandmother up in the countryside. And this is a lesson in taking a look at the enemy and not being afraid to take a good look at who the enemy is, staring the enemy in the eye and facing that enemy. Most times they will back down. Okay. And I had just come from Trinidad when I was living by my grandparents just for a couple months while my parents fixed their house in the city. And I was very happy. I love the countryside. My parents lived in a place in St. Lucia called Belmont. The earth is red there. I swear it's lovely. And I came from like just deeply being an artist, a performance poet in Trinidad on that kind of scene. So I even dressed differently. It was kind of like grunge and you know how we do, right? And hey, where they cannot follow. Yes, thank you. Yes, go where they cannot follow. And I I was dressing that way, and it was a countryside. People, people's minds are a little small. Their world is a little small. This guy who lived around, he used to follow me every single morning while I on my way to the bus, calling me names, like I was strange, who you think you are, whatever, whatever. One day, I left early enough because I had had enough. Like one day, when you just can't take anything, you can't take anymore. And I left early enough because I didn't want my grandparents to hear. Right? And when he started, I simply turned around and I started walking into him. Instead of him walking after me, I turned around and I went on the offensive of the enemy. Guy backed down like I don't even know. He was so surprised that day I decided to take the offensive stance as opposed to just, being calm and finding my way to the bus stop and not taking him on. I walked on him. I was not afraid. Sometimes part of this strategy of fighting the adversary is to turn around and look the adversary in the eye. And then you'll recognize when you look in the eye, you realize there's no power there, there's nothing there. And then you see their fear because it was all about the noise. So, all of these strategies are how you fight the enemy, I swear. Like, this is how. Yep, you recognize spiritual warfare. Thank you, Tess, for saying that. So, how are you fighting today? Who's your adversary? And what are they after? It is not enough to say, oh, they're after me. Exactly are they after? Sit down and think about it, because when you realize what the fruit is that they're trying to pick at, you realize how you can protect it. And also, there's a thing about if you know what they are after, perhaps you also know what they don't have. And that is your strength, right? Anyway, you guys, oh, I have a couple QR codes. I'm into QR codes these days. So let me put up a couple things. Don't forget, if you want to subscribe to Basement Chronicles, like I usually go live there. I've gotten back to doing this on early morning because like even yesterday I missed a day in my 31-day challenge because I had clients and it just kept on getting busier and busier all throughout the day. And the day just passed me by and I never went live. So I'm like, you know what? Seize the day, carpe diem, do it very early, get people motivated, and then go your way. So there's a QR code right here on the screen, right here. Let me see if I can, right here. Okay. You can, if you're on Instagram, you can go to the link in my bio and you can subscribe there. So subscribe to Basement Chronicles. Please like it. Please share the video if this meant something to you, or you know somebody who's been persecuted at work and they need to be reminded that they are the eagle, and eagles don't fight like snakes because you're going to lose every single time. Stay in your power. All right. And you guys, so I'm starting this new program for speakers. If you are interested, I can teach you how to turn your voice into a career. So, like I've started with my group. You know what? I'll just go ahead and say it. Okay. So, Find Your Fire will help you to turn your voice into a career. I'm going to be doing a lot more talking on that. So, watch this space for more information. But here's the thing, if you have something to say or you have a voice and you're not sure what you want to say, either of these categories qualifies for this program. I'll teach you how to move from not being paid, being called upon to speak anyway, and not being paid for your services, emceeing, keynote speaking, guest speaking, doing the speeches at weddings, all of the things. These are bona fide careers that people get paid a lot of money for. What has happened is if you don't take your talent seriously, nobody else will. And this program is going to teach you how to do it. In fact, my speakers are now going out getting gigs right now. And so I've entered the phase of igniting the fire in the program. We called it Find Your Fire, Build Your Fire, and Ignite Your Fire. It's a 6-month program that teaches you how to go from zero to at least $2,000 in that first 6 months as a speaker. And so now they're going out. So now the conversation has changed because Do you know, those of you who are in the business, do you know when you speak, it's very powerful. And one of the classes that we have coming up for the speakers is what is your post speaking game? Because sometimes you can be very honorable on stage, and that power that you emit on stage, it attracts moths like they're coming to a flame. Do you guys know that? Oh my goodness, you guys. I've seen it, experienced it as well. And now I'm seeing my speakers going out, and the power on stage is palpable. Have you ever experienced that? But there has to be an end game. You have to know, what do you do when you get off stage? Many people, that is where they lose their integrity. So you're going to get off stage and you're going to get with the first person who falls in love with you. If you have a big ego, male or female, you're going to get on stage because that power, it's very attractive. And if you don't know how to control it as a speaker, then you're going to lose that reputation and you won't be able to sustain that longevity in the business. So these are all of the things that we are learning in the Find Your Fire program, from before you start speaking to when you get on stage. What do you do after? It's because of the experiences that I've had in the business, and also seeing now my first crop of speakers step out and just seeing, hey, you're going to need this for after. You're going to need this for when your name is known. What do you do when you come off stage? How do you maintain, preserve your energy and your reputation? These things are very important. So I'm building a cohort of integra speakers. I didn't even know that was a word, but it is a cohort of people. So scan that QR code, and you can just book a consult with me and get into the upcoming cohort, where I'm going to teach you how to really turn your voice into a career. It doesn't mean that you leave your career right now, but it means you begin to build even around your 9 to 5. Or it means, if you are an entrepreneur, that you learn how to speak about your business with such conviction that people know that they know that they know that they need to get with you, because what you have to offer, you so believe in it, and you believe in the results that you can get. So thank you for listening, you guys. I'm probably going to be up tomorrow. We're speaking about 3 tips on how to get unstuck. Are you in a rut where perhaps exercise is concerned, where relationships are concerned? It's the same way that you get out of a rut in any area of your life. So that is the topic for tomorrow: how to get unstuck. I'll see you same time right here. Promise to be just 30 minutes tomorrow, not like the overflow of today, but I do hope it helped today. So see you guys, and don't forget to subscribe to Basement Chronicles on YouTube. Bye, everybody. Take care.